Hello, my absolutely beautiful astrology soulmates, and welcome to your weekly horoscope for the week of October 28th, taking us out of October into month 11, into November. Very exciting times. And I just want to also open up by saying happy birthday to our Scorpio friends and happy birthday to all of the areas of our chart ruled by Scorpio, because it is awakening and transformation time. And it is also a really interesting week to be thinking about all of this deep transformation and the dichotomy that this week is going to offer us. Deep transformation plus a little bit of play, soft and easy plus relationship dynamics. We're really doing the either or the or this week. And it's a little bit impossible to say, is something ending or is just how I thought it was supposed to be happening ending, and it's actually opening its space to a new path. So it's a really interesting week to see that particular dynamic. Now, if we haven't met before, I'm practicing professional astrologer Stormie Grace, and it is an absolute pleasure to have you here. If you're looking for what's going on in the weekly sky, I've got that for you here, and I've also got timestamps in the description box down below, so you can go to each and every single day and check on what is going on in that day. Also in the description box down below, opportunities for you to learn astrology, because the best astrology is your astrology. So you can take my Astrology 101 course. It is available for $67 crispy down in the description box down below. As well, your 2025 transit calendar is ready from our friends at Wise Skies Collective. So make sure you pick it up, have those transits come right to your phone so you can really take advantage of that void of course moon, so you can really time your rituals for the new moon that's happening this week brilliantly. So that is in the description box down below. And of course, this is the last days to get signed up for my live YouTube 5-day breakthrough challenge. So if that is you, if you are a creative entrepreneur, you're an astrologer, you do tarot, you do accounting, whatever you do, and your heart is creative and you want to share a message on YouTube, you run a business and you need to bring it on YouTube, or you want to use YouTube to create a financial revenue stream for yourself, I can show you how to do it. My YouTube channel holds 13 different streams of income off of it, and I can show you how to do that as well. And we're going to do it live and together coming up November 2nd. So make sure you click down below and get signed up. All right, beautiful friends, into the week. So let's start off with our quote for the week. What the caterpillar calls the end, the rest of the world calls a butterfly. I love that, and I think that this week absolutely speaks to that particular theme. Now let's have our guiding thought for the week. So first of all, I want to say that this week's transits, I think, invite us to not only experience the dichotomy, but also to balance this place of passion with really deep introspection about what is and where I want to go. Okay. So our thought for the week is, as the planetary energies pull us to explore what lies beneath, transformation can flourish when we face challenges with courage and with insight. So are you ready this week to embrace each twist and turn as it calls us to bloom? I'm excited to see what that means for you as we travel into this week. And like I said, first of all, it is a new moon week. So the most impactful day that we have going for us this week is going to be that new moon energy, not only because it's the new moon, but because it also is going to welcome in the beginning of a new month. It's also the space of a pivot in terms of a lunar family. It's really a beginning of something that's happening in a lunar family. So we're starting a new story as we're going to be traveling this week, but let's take this thing one day at a time. So starting off here on Monday, the 28th, first things first, we've got Mars in a trine to Neptune. So as we're experiencing this particular energy, this is a moment where, first of all, we have this blend of like creativity and action. And the trine creates a pocket of opportunity that is open for us. We can have it. We can walk through the doorway. It is here. It is valuable to us, but we have to go to it. The trine does not come to us. We go to it. So anything that has to do with your creative flow, Anything that has to do with being creative or pouring creativity into some kind of project maybe that you're working on, or really using your imagination, applying more idealism to something you're doing, bringing a massive amount. Neptune is still in Pisces, of compassion, of forgiveness where it is needed. We did a lot with this last moon that had to do with resentment. So where are you at in the healing journey of this particular experience? So this is a great transit here as we're traveling on Monday to, first of all, connect to your intuition, connect to your creativity, let it show you where to flow and where to move next. And if you come to a place where you realize you're ready to soften and let that dam go so that the river can flow, it's a great energy to pour on that forgiveness. Just behind that, we're going to see that Venus comes into a square here with Saturn. This is an absolute reminder, I think, to each of us as we experience this transit, that love, money, and practicality do all go together, right? They really can all go together. It doesn't have to be like an either or. In fact, we have to mix the two things. What I love and how I'm practically engaging with that energy have to come together, because Saturn coming together with that deliciousness of Venus will demand boundaries, right? It will demand boundaries to what I'm doing, to what I'm taking on. So one of the things to think about here with this particular transit is, if challenges in relationships present themselves, earlier in the day you have this beautiful, creative, forgiving energy, and then we get to like a couple hours later and there's a challenge in your relationship, or there's a challenge that comes up in your finances, that this is a place to refine, put some boundaries in place of what is needed, and to remember that two things can exist, right? That love, money, practicality, it can all exist together, but the boundaries have to be correct around it if it's going to function in a way that really, truly matters and is best for you and those involved. Now, later, we're going to see that the moon, who brought us into Monday in Virgo, so we came in practicality, right? Our moon day to get us started came in an earthy Virgo energy, but quite nervous, because Virgo is a mutable energy. So it can worry. It's great. It transitions us from one thing to the next. That's fantastic. But we can come in a little bit worrisome as well. So we need to remember that. But as we get to 9:54 p.m., and this is Mountain Time, Colorado time, we're going to see that the moon goes void, of course, for just about an hour. So this is the time where the energy is not really connecting. It's slow, it's low. So around this time in your evening, if you can give yourself a break, you can rest. Remember that the universe is kind. It gives us downtime to process, to be with ourselves, to come back home. It gives us a space to tie up the loose ends of the day. This is the time where it's not like, oh, I have to get this done for tomorrow. Oh, it's this next. It's like, what do I just need to finish and tidy up right here so that I can have peace right now in this moment? Just behind that, at 10:29 p.m., again, Mountain Time, we'll see that the moon enters into the vibration of Libra. Okay, so now we're coming into a space for the next couple days where we're looking for this balance, this harmony. This becomes, at an emotional level, our greatest focus. But then it also brings into our emotional view what's happening in our relationships and things with finances, right? So if you find yourself over the next couple days feeling a call or an urge to connect, or maybe even reconnect with others, or to make that phone call. I've been so busy, I haven't been able to call my sister, I haven't been able to call my mom, I haven't been able to check with my friend, I haven't been able to respond to that email, or man, my partner and I have just been running past each other, and we get to stop for a minute over this next couple days and just reconnect, recalibrate the relationship and see the beauty in it. This is a fantastic day on Monday to bring that into your action, your activity, and to your consciousness. So as a whole, on Monday, I encourage you, and I think that the energy encourages you to, again, blend that practicality and that creativity, and Mars and Neptune will provide this really nice inspiration kind of vibe. But then that Venus and Saturn is going to say, okay, but also get it together, because I demand boundaries. I demand that you respect what's really going on here and get a little bit serious, okay? Now, as we're going to roll over into Tuesday, that energy is going to carry on. But what I would like to point out to you is that the new moon vibe It's on the table as we're traveling this week. Now, it's not going to come to us. We're not going to experience that until we get to Friday, but it's here. It's on the table because it's in orb. Now, when we get to Wednesday, this is going to be October 30th, we're going to see that Mercury is in an opposition to Uranus here. So we've got our planet of the mind, of communication, how we think, we make decisions, we gather information, we disseminate that information that we've received, even how we network. We've got that opposing, right, Uranus that's over in Taurus, shaking, not stirring, that Taurian area. So shaking up the things we have valued, shaking up the stubborn areas of that Taurian earth energy. So here, first of all, whenever Uranus gets involved, you have to expect the unexpected. You got to expect the unexpected, because what this is happening is as they click into this opposition, there is a space for, oh, I didn't see that coming, or, oh, I would have never thought of it that way. Mercury, right? So a surprise insight, or something where you're demonstrating, like something presents a disruption to your situation and you have to think of it from a different perspective, but it makes you demonstrate your genius. You're like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know that was an option for me. Now, one of the things to think about with Mercury traveling through Scorpio, heading to Sagittarius this week, but traveling through Scorpio, is there could be an old belief or an old idea that you have, and someone or some external event shows up and it disrupts it. It disrupts your old thinking pattern. It literally shows you that you were wrong, that it's like, that's not actually true. That's an old thinking pattern. It's not serving you anymore. So it's an aspect that serves to really help us innovate old perspectives, right? In Scorpio season, we're bringing that transformation. Am I ready to embrace these transformative truths that are available to me? And on Wednesday is a day that you get that. So look for the flashes of inspiration. Look for the surprise. Look for surprise messages that come to you on that day. Stay adaptable. Stay flexible. That's what has to happen when we're dealing with Uranian energy, even if it is an old, stubborn, fixed, grounded Taurus energy. Look for unconventional approaches and solutions to, it's like an unconventional approach to an old problem, but you're bringing that new solution vibe to it at this particular time, okay? Now, as we roll into Thursday, some people will be celebrating Halloween, some people will not. If you celebrate Halloween, happy Halloween, okay? But we are going to see the moon roll into a void of course position from 10:56 a.m. until 11:29 a.m. Again, that's Mountain Colorado time. So come in on Thursday, getting that early, it's not early morning time. I guess it depends on when you go to bed. Get to this time of day and remember to rest. Put some things down. Let your thinking slow. Let it be easy. Just take a rest. Give yourself a full body rest, maybe a nice little beverage. Rehydrate yourself. Lots of deep, powerful breaths to reoxygenate yourself. Just give yourself space and time to come back to, I don't need to solve anything right now. I can just practice a little bit of breathing and a little bit of being. Now, behind that, we will see that the moon enters into the vibration of Scorpio. So further cranking up the scorpionic energy. So at 11:29 a.m. Mountain Time, Colorado time, as the moon comes into that Scorpio vibration, it's first of all our call for the month to go more deeply into our emotions. The moon is considered to be in fall in Scorpio because the moon wants to really feel it out, but Scorpio is like, I want to feel it to your soul and to the tips of your toes and down, and the moon is like, that is a lot, right? But that's okay. We're going to move with that level of intensity. And intensity does not mean bad. It is not synonymous with bad, because you can also, as the moon is traveling here and we're experiencing Scorpio season as well, feel the intensity of a really deep connection or reconnection within yourself that is to your passion, to your talent, right? To something that you really are interested in, your intuition. It's like you're fusing a new pathway to listen and to hear to your heightened intuition to guide you on your road with what's going on around you. So as we're traveling through Scorpio season, and certainly as the moon is here in this next couple of days, one of the things I would encourage you to do is to listen to your intuition. Trust it. How do you trust your intuition? Hear something and then take some baby steps to following it and see what happens, right? When I was learning to really, really trust my intuition, my spiritual teacher would have me do these activities where I would ask a question I would have to wait for the intuitive guidance. And when I thought it was my intuition, I took baby steps. I didn't go leaping off of the cliff in the beginning, I would take baby steps towards it and watch what unfolded. And that's how I learned to trust my intuition and learn what is intuition and what are these little things in my brain that are like, this would be fun, So I encourage you, trust your intuition, trust your inner guidance, but also be aware that we've had some aspect happen that is encouraging you to shed old thinking, because the old thinking may not be actually serving you anymore. So where is the break between the story that you're telling yourself about something in your life, who you are, what it's supposed to be, what's actually going on, and the truth that your intuition is like, no, let's go this way and see what's happening, okay? Now, just behind that, we're going to see that Mercury comes into a trine here with Neptune. This is lovely. This is a lovely aspect for compassion. It's a lovely aspect for compassion, for creativity. I think there's a lot of play here. I also feel like as Neptune and as Mercury and Neptune are going to come together, there's this tenderness that does come with Scorpio season. So there's a high amount of vulnerability that's being like risen to the surface, right? And Mercury, Neptune brings a gentleness. It can bring a gentleness to how we're communicating. There's an empathy where it's like the place where you go, okay, listen, really, realistically, we're all growing up in public here together. Right? Like nobody has it super figured out. Some people are doing better than others. We're all walking each other home. If I think this person is a complete turd, there's probably reflecting something in me. Now, just because they're reflecting something in me doesn't mean I have to accept their behavior, but it doesn't mean that I have to put them down either. Right? So it becomes this empathetic, joyful, creative place, I think. It's also for my artists or anybody who's, maybe you're not even an artist. Maybe you just have some art in you that needs to come out, but you're not like a full-time artist. And this is a great energy to let that spill out. Play, write, do art, dance, listen to inspirational things that speak kindness into your own spirit. I think that this is a great day here on Thursday to really vibe in with that and see how that feeds you and feeds the next depth of your intuition. Okay, now when we roll into Friday, not only is it November 1st, so I want to say happy birthday to the November 1st folks. If this is your particular birthday, we are going to welcome in a new moon. You're getting the new moon on your birthday this year. So we've got the new moon happening at 9 degrees of Scorpio. So you want to make sure you locate 9 degrees of Scorpio in your particular chart. And if you don't know how to do that, I'll put a video at the end of this video to show you exactly how to find that. And then you can align it with whichever house that is in your particular chart. And if you go over to my website at stormiegrace.com, it's also in the description box down below. You can click right over to my new moon guide to tell you a little bit more about what the new moon's unfolding in your particular chart is going to be about. Okay, but locate that 9 degrees of Scorpio in your chart. Now, first of all, the new moon is the time where the luminaries come together. The sun and the moon are together, so anything's possible. The sky is dark. The soil of your life is so fertile. So I really encourage all of us, just like my teacher Stephen Forrest did, that when you're at a new moon, be very choosy because the soil of your life is fertile. So what you plant here for good or for ill, you are going to work with. So be choosy. Be choosy for the next 2.5 years. Do you really want to build this thing or this person or this resentment? What do you want to build? So be mindful of it and then plant that seed because this is planting in Scorpio is about a cycle of transformation. Now, one of the things that we do see at this new moon, while you have this opportunity to plant your seeds of intention, to allow new things to come in and to shape it a little bit, to call in the people that you need, is that the rulers of this particular lunation, both Pluto and Mars, they are at critical degrees. They're both at 29 degrees, okay? And they are both not only at 29 degrees, but they are in opposition to each other. So there is an intense kind of powerful vibration that is going here, but it is around the intensity of renewal. It's about renewal and about release. We cannot, are you ready to embrace the twists and turns that come with the shedding so that you can have this new experience? Now, I want to remind you as well that because this is the new moon and this lunation happens within a family, this is your start. So I want you to be able to watch how your garden is growing. So we're going to plant our seeds of intention right here to have this transformation. And it could be a passionate transformation. I'm a tap dancer. I don't know if you guys know that. I don't know if I've ever shared that with you, but I have been a tap dancer from Donna Mack's dance school since I was 3 years old. So, right? Scorpio season, bringing up for me a lot more about new tap patterns, connecting with different tap dancers here in Spain, tap dancers online. So it can also be the intensity of something that you're passionate about it. You have a vocabulary for it. And that's the transformation that's calling in. You're like, yeah, I need more of that in my life. And it can also be, I really have to get my finances together. It can be, I really have to, whatever your transformation is, you're planting your seeds of intention here. Now, August 1st of 2025, we're going to reach the first quarter energy when we see the moon come to the first quarter time. And this is where you're going to be taking a lot of action, really building what it is that you've called in. Right now, you're calling in all of the equipment and the resources you need to construct something big and beautiful and delicious for your future. But by the time we get to August, you're going to be tearing out old stuff, people, places, and things are going to be falling out of your life. Your eyelashes are blown back. Let it go. That is the universe weeding your garden and getting your construction site ready, because you become a builder and you're going to build what you want here until May 1st of 2026, at which point we'll hit the full moon point, and you get to look at what you did, celebrate what you planted at this new moon, right? What has come to be for you? What have you learned? What is the purpose of what you built? And then you're going to say, okay, I've done these things. I don't need them anymore. I need to pivot and continue to grow in this direction. So we'll pivot at that time. And then when we get to January 29th of 2027 is when you're going to bring this cycle that you are starting November 1st to a close at that last quarter time, where you reap really the biggest rewards of what you've built, and you also let it go in space of a new thing that you would like to build, maybe even in a really different way. So I think that, keeping in mind that every lunation that we have is, first of all, energetically built. It's a cosmic conspiracy to have us living our best lives, okay? But they get even better when we're looking at our own astrology and saying, this is where this is trying to help me shape in this area of my chart. So how do I build and how do I plant with that? But make no mistake, here on Friday, taking us into November, there's a lot of intensity around that particular new moon. So just be choosy, okay? All right, when we get to November 2nd on Saturday, we're going to see that Jupiter, first of all, comes into a sextile with Chiron. And this is early on in the day, around 2:07 a.m. Mountain Time. Now, as Jupiter and Chiron come together, first of all, this is the sextile. So it's a pocket of opportunity, but we intelligently take action on it. So listen, I don't know if you're going to be in the astro world or the astral world, or you're at work. Maybe you're one of our late shift workers. Whatever it is, this is a harmonious aspect that you take action on, because you're displaying your growth, right? You're displaying your growth through healing. This is that time where we don't love it, but maybe the baby has an ear infection and you have to go to the urgent care, and you're just sitting there and someone's in the emergency room, waiting room with you as well, and they say something to you, and you are able to reflect back to whomever is right in front of you with so much self-reflection and compassion for that person that it demonstrates to you your own growth in that particular moment. There's a gentleness about it. It is profound as Jupiter is here. It really lets you see the experience of your own, the wisdom of your own experiences. So I look forward, if you happen to be one of our people that is for whatever reason up at that time and you experience that energy, please share that with us in the comment section down below. Okay, just behind that, we are going to see that Mercury comes into a trine with Mars, and this is a lot. Mercury and Mars coming together is just a lot because they're both also on the move, okay? So as Mercury and Mars come into the trine, we have my thinking and my doing coming into a trine aspect with one another. But remember, the trine provides the pocket of opportunity, but you have to go to it. So this is a space where in this energy, our mental and our physical energies come together. They're aligned. They're on the same page. They're like, cool, I see it. I see what you're trying to do. So first of all, whatever you're doing can be well done. So creative, dynamic conversations, absolutely. Maybe you've got to persuade someone, or you're up late typing that proposal and you're persuading the investors to invest with you, or you're in your journal, you're, whatever it is that you're doing, the conversation is fantastic. Now you're going to have it for the entire day as well. It's not just that you have to talk to people at 2:21 a.m. Mountain Time. It's a great day for being persuasive, for being clear, where your actions and your thinking are very much so in alignment. If you needed to brainstorm with people, you've got to come up with a plan or an idea how to bring something together. It's like one of the things my spiritual teacher has reminded me of forever is that this is the space where you're not going to think yourself into the right action. You actually have to act your way into the right thinking, right? It's like an idea comes and it's like, oh, I don't know about that. Let's try it. Let's be in motion. Let's put it in. And then you see what you need to correct, right? And then the thinking comes around and it kind of opens the next door and the next door and the next door. So it's a lovely energy. Now, Mercury's not done because Mercury's also in a sextile to Pluto. That's a lot. Pluto is at 29 degrees. So this aspect in whatever you're brainstorming, whatever you're talking about is going to go deep. You're going to probe. Okay. And this is a sextile. So you are in action. You're taking action on the opportunity. So whatever subject comes up to your table, you are probing. You are asking for questions. You're going deeper. You're like, well, what about this? You're questioning your own motives, your own motivation, and that you're questioning old structures of the world. Pluto is at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So in the world at large, you may be seeing, of course, your own information surfacing, but more information surfacing that has been hidden, right? And so you're being urged to consider new information that has been brought to the surface, whether it's yours or in the world and the structure of the world around you. So I think it's a day as well where honesty, power dynamics, whether they're personally ours or the ones we've been living within the world, in our global lives, is going to really have our attention, and we have to reconsider how we're going to act and we're going to move with that. So it's kind of a big day. Now, behind that, we're going to see Mercury get ready to move into Sagittarius, having garnered all of these truths, right? And it's like in the toolkit now of our thinking and our decision making, we see that Mercury's got new information, but now what do I do with it? How do I expand my horizons with that? So we're going to see Mercury start to take its transit through Sagittarius. So communication, first of all, is more optimistic, but it's also more big picture. We're having bigger concepts, bigger truths, bigger philosophies that have guided our thinking for a very long time. Now, Mercury's retrograde is just kind of looming ahead. So we are reminded to slow down. We are reminded to, eat the information that we have received one little bite at a time to see what we can build with that, remembering that as we get to the 25th of this month of November, we're going to retrograde and review all of this. And we're going to really be reviewing these themes until we get into early January. So, there's a lot of information personally and in our world that we're going to see resurfacing at this particular time. And what you do with it, you have a little bit of time to map that out. Now, behind that, we see that the moon is going to come void, of course, from 10:50 p.m. till 11:19 p.m. Mountain Time. So a very short void, of course. But after all this revelation, you may need a little few minutes of downtime. I highly encourage you to take it, do a little facial, even if you're just doing your own personal gua sha, bring yourself back to yourself, friends. And after that, we'll see that the moon steps into Sagittarius, giving us our once a month call to look at where you need to tell the truth to yourself, what truths you do know about yourself, where you have this sense of adventure and expansion that is coming from the truths that you have learned, and where you just want to try emotionally something a little bit out of the box. I always encourage, whenever we have the moon in Sagittarius, try a spice that you've never tried before. Go try it on, go see what you think about it. I actually tried for the first time a few weeks ago. I tried these red red peppers. They're like the little tiny red peppers. You put them in with like dill pickles and stuff like that. They've been around. I've seen them. I've just never tried it. And so I got some and tried it, and they're delicious. So that's what I can share with you on that front. Okay, as we're going to end the week here on Sunday, on November 3rd, we're coming in with a Venus-Jupiter opposition to lead the way, lead the day. And this opposition, because it's the benefics, first of all, the opposition can really exaggerate something you desire or something that you are craving, right? Especially when it comes to money and relationships. It's like, it's too good. It's too much. It's getting, and I'm going in multiple directions. Anytime there's an opposition, we're looking for integration. So first of all, the first thing to know is to really be mindful of any kind of overindulgence that is presenting itself, because it's the kind of overindulgence, it will hurt later. It will hurt a bit. You will be like, I enjoyed that very much until I didn't, until I didn't. So make things a little bit easier for yourself if you can, and watch that indulgence, okay? Now, we're also going to see here on the same day, it's quite busy because Venus comes into a trine with Chiron here just about an hour later. So this is actually a healing aspect towards your relationships, towards finances and things like that. So, one of the ways I could see this being really useful to any of us is that you're having this indulgence. Do I go really far this way, or do I go really far this way? But either way, I'm wanting to connect. That trine is about connection, right? So in that way, finding connection, finding compassion in the connection, finding opportunities to give forgiveness is really great. But remember that sometimes in a situation, forgiveness is not permission to continue a behavior that was not working. So just because you forgive doesn't mean you have to lay down and doormat it out, right? That's not what that means. But also, we have to remember that forgiveness doesn't mean that on our side we can continue to punish the other person, because that's not forgiveness. So I think in this aspect, we have an opportunity to evaluate where we're really at with that. But Venus in a trine to that Chiron is like a desire, or an opportunity is there to lay real forgiveness, real healing in our connections, if we can not over exaggerate what it is, what it was, okay? Behind that, the Mars-Pluto opposition. Now, as these two oppose each other, this is a lot of intensity. It is a lot of intensity. We saw it at the full moon, right? But on this particular day, there's no lunation in the way of it. They are just going into one another. It's a powerful alignment. We need to remember that, because as Mars and Pluto oppose each other, it's assertiveness meets intensity, but Pluto being at that 29 degrees of Capricorn as well, it's an intensity of change, not just within us, but within our societies as well. So while it can lovingly invite transformation, provoke change, all of these things, it can provoke violence. It can provoke conflicts that come up, especially if you're kind of caught in the trap of that energy and you're not exactly sure how to work with it. You're not sure what's really going on. If you're going to be in situations where you could harness the power of a situation for good or for ill, right, in this particular energy. So it's kind of got down to, what will you do with it? Are you making a decision where you have had an opportunity to Mars in Cancer to be emotionally reflective, see what you need, see what's important in the situation, and to really evaluate that? Are you making decisions that are about keeping and extending your security? Or is this an emotional power grab that is going on? And listen, we're all humans. We all have these moments that come up for us. We have to be mindful of that. Now, to the other side, where I think that this transit can be useful, is it does give a really strong desire to do something. But it is an opposition. So what we want to do is bring them together, bring the integration, right? Bring the integration. Where is the integration of home and work? Where is the integration of that Cancer and that Capricorn axes? Where are we striving to bring them together to the middle so they're integrated, so we have the most full expression of our potential in this particular situation, this transit, whether it's our past, our future, all of the things combined, we have the best of ourselves and the best of our world to offer, right? So it's an intense energy. It can be very, Mars in Cancer can be really primal because there's this sense of I have to defend, I have to protect, I have to, right? So that energy can be really high. It can be competitive. It can be intense. So let's just be mindful in this particular day that, it's just not all peace and love and cherry juice, because if you do not do a little bit of labor, if your body doesn't start to indicate that it's ready for some kind of labor or that the cooking is done, we don't get babies. We don't get a new experience. So we're not going to get new experiences without a little bit of labor and a little bit of assertion to get us there. So just be mindful. If things no longer serve you, what are you really fighting for? What are you really defending for? Is it coming from an emotional place, or is this some place that you've done some good thinking and planning out about it? Now, behind that, we get about a good 5 hours of that, continued last energy. It's the last dance with that energy for a bit, and then we'll see the moon shift into Leo. Okay, now the Mars shifting into Leo brings this boost of energy because it's Mars moving out of water, where some of its heat can be evaporated, right? With that water is going to be evaporated from the heat. Now it's just fire. Now we're moving into fire. Mars is like, I'm on fire. I'm on fire. And I really like it. So there's a boost of energy. There's confidence. There's charisma in our action. We're willing to be more assertive. We feel good about expressing our assertion and our energy. We feel good about stepping into leadership in these particular areas of our life. So make sure you look at where is Mars in Leo in your chart, because here you're like, I'm ready to embrace some me. I'm ready to say it, do it with my chest out. And that's what that energy is really trying to bring to the table. And I think is going to allow us to be not only some of our best selves, but get stuff done. Get stuff done. Now, we do have to remember Mars is Mars, Leo is Leo, so this can be competitive. That competitive energy is still there. And as long as you are fighting you to be the next best version of you, that's great. Or if there is something, if you had a court situation and you need to be, in battle in that way, this may be to your benefit, especially if you are not the one who necessarily brought the lawsuit. This comes down to your personal chart, but this can be a little bit helpful. Think leadership. Think leadership. This is where this energy is going to be its greatest good for you. All right, my absolutely beautiful friends, I hope you have a gorgeous week. Please remember to click to the description box down below. Click on the links, grab your goodies so that you have your tools and your resources to really make the astrology big and beautiful and personal for you this week. And I look forward to gathering back with you. Your 2025 astrological predictions are almost done. 5 beautiful astrologers coming together, walking you through all the different areas of 2025. It is a full set of forecasts for each and every single sign with an expert in their particular arena. So grab your notebook, get ready, because those 2025s are coming out for you. I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Bye, everyone.